students, now coming to another chapter, modes of reproduction. Students, every organism can live only a certain period of time. Such a period from birth to the natural death, that is considered as lifespan. This is called lifespan. Okay. In this way, the lifespan, it may vary from species to species. It is vary from species to the next species. For example, mango lifespan is shorter than peepal tree. In this way, there is a variation from organism to organism in lifespan. Highest lifespan, it is present in a peepal tree. Peepal. It is 500 plus. 500 plus years. It is represented by the prolonged period of lifespan. 500 plus. Then banyan and pinus plants. Banyan and pinus. This is 300 plus years. 300 plus years. Then it is followed by royal fern. Royal fern. Asmunda. Okay. 100 years plus. Okay. Then it is followed by rose plant. This is 5 years plus. And then is followed by banana. Okay. 2 years. Okay. And carrot plants 1 year. And rice plant 3 to 7 months. Okay. At the same time, masses of bryophytes only few weeks. Very least lifespan is found in Wolffia, that is only 2 weeks. Wolffia is represented by only 2 weeks. This is the list of various plants and their lifespans in a descending order. Okay. In this way, reproduction, all organisms present on earth, there is no the organism which is immortal. All organisms are mortal, like man, except unicellular organisms, means single celled organisms. So in case of the single celled organisms, there is no death, not natural death. Except these organisms, there is no the organism which is immortal on earth, except single celled organisms. Similarly, reproduction, this is nothing but a biological process. Reproduction is a biological process by which an organism can produce new individuals similar to itself and also similar to their parental organism. Such biological process is called reproduction. This reproduction, it is also dependent on various environmental conditions, hormonal changes, internal and external morphology, and also physiology of organisms. It's dependent in all these events. At the same time, this reproduction, it also enables the organisms to continue from one generation to the next generation. Okay. In this way, there are two different types of reproduction process. One is asexual reproduction, and second one, this is sexual reproduction. In case of this asexual reproduction, only one parent is participated in asexual reproduction. Either one or two parents with opposite sexes, they help in sexual reproduction. And the sexual reproduction, this is very asexual reproduction is a very rapid process, but sexual reproduction is a very slow process. It involves the formation of gametes. Gametes, no gametes. Gametes are formed. Okay, gametes are formed. In case of this asexual reproduction, offsprings, they are identical. Offsprings formed in asexual reproduction, they are identical, but in sexual reproduction, unidentical. Offsprings are unidentical. Now coming to another point, asexual reproduction in organisms. This asexual reproduction is most common. This is most common in case of unicellular organisms. This is most common in unicellular organisms. In case of these unicellular organisms like protists, okay, and monilins, protists and monilins, they are a type of unicellular organisms. In these organisms, binary fission is there, in which every parental cell eventually divides into two daughter cells in favorable conditions. That is called binary fission. Binary fission, every cell divides into two daughter cells. Cell division, okay, cell division, that is binary fission, is a type of a mode of reproduction. So in case of unicellular organisms, cell division itself a mode of reproduction process, because in every cell division the number of organisms would be doubled. Because of this reason, this is considered as a type of reproduction process. For example, in case of bacterial cells, bacteria, asexual reproduction takes place by binary fission. Binary fission. But what about in case of other organisms like euglena also, bacteria and euglena, they reproduce by binary fission. But what about in case of yeast cells? In yeast cells, asexual reproduction takes place by budding. Asexual reproduction takes place by budding. What is budding? This is the formation of some asexual buds on the surface of parental cell. This is nothing but asexual reproduction and is nothing but amitosis. Is also a type of amitosis, unequal mitosis. This is called budding in case of yeast cells. But in case of algae and in case of fungal members, in this algae fungi, there are some specialized asexual structures. These specialized asexual structures are called spores. They are very minute and microscopic. At the same time, they are adapted. They survive from adverse conditions and are very suitable for dissemination, dispersal. So, spores are there. These type of spores, generally, there are three types. One is juice spores. Okay, juice spores. These juice spores are also called, these spores are swarm spores. Swarm spores. Juice spores are also called swarm spores. These juice spores are endospores and motile spores. Endospores and motile spores. One of the example for these spores, some chlamydomonas members. Some chlamydomonas. This is one of the best examples. So this type of spores are called juice spores or swarm spores. Second type of spores, they are called sporangiospores. Sporangiospores. These sporangiospores, they are also endospores and non-motile spores. Endospores are non-motile spores. And some of the examples for this common bread mold that is called rhizopus is one of the best examples. These are also just like zoospores, endospores are also endospores. Sporangiospores are also endospores, but these sporangiospores are non-motile. At the same time, another type of spores, they are conidia. They are conidia. Generally, these conidia, they are exospores and non-motile exospores. One of the best example for this type of conidia, that is penicillium. Penicillium, they are the best examples. In this way, spores present in algae and fungi, there are three types. One is zoospores, endomotile spores, and also called swarm spores. Examples, chlamydomonas. Second one, sporangiospores, endospores, and non-motile spores. Example, rhizopus, common bread molds. And third one, conidia, exospores and non-motile spores. Example, penicillium. In this way, there are total three types of spores in our case. But in case of bryophytes and in case of pteridophytes, these haploid spores, okay, haploid spores, they produce gametophytes. Gametophytes. So haploid spores germinates into gametophytes. These haploid spores in bryophytes and pteridophytes, they are most essential to complete the life cycle of these bryophytes and pteridophytes. Why they are most essential for life cycle? To complete the life cycle, these haploid spores develop into the gametophytes to continue the life cycle. And at the same time, in case of algal members and mushrooms, here a special type of asexual reproduction is there. Such a special type of asexual reproduction is called fragmentation. This is fragmentation. This fragmentation is commonly found in algal members and mushrooms and filamentous fungal members like mushrooms, whatever. During favorable conditions, the body of algae and fungi that may be broken into several small segments, and in favorable conditions, each and every segment it lead an independent life. Means develops into a new organism. Such a asexual reproduction, this is considered as fragmentation. Similarly, in case of liverworts of bryophytes, so in case of liverworts of bryophytes, there is a special asexual reproduction, that is asexual reproduction. It takes place by gymme. This is also a type of fragmentation. The fragmentation in these liverworts takes place via some special structures, that is gymme. Gymme are also the asexual birds formed inside the gymme cups of these liverworts. They lead an independent life when they get separated from the mother plants. Now, this is also a type of fragmentation process. At the same time, in higher plants, okay, in higher angiospermic plants, means in flowering plants, asexual reproduction takes place by means of vegetative reproduction. Vegetative reproduction. So, vegetative reproduction present in higher plants is also a type of asexual reproduction. Why vegetative reproduction is considered as a type of asexual reproduction? In vegetative reproduction, also only one parental organism is involved. Only one parental organism, only one parental plant is involved in vegetative reproduction. So that all the organisms, all the plants which are formed by vegetatively by a plant, that is called clone, and structurally all these plants present in clone, they are numerically, structurally and phenotypically, genotypically, they are similar. You know, different kinds of vegetative propagules, they help in vegetative propagation. For example, in case of runners, example, oxalis, grasses and strawberry. At the same time, stolons, that is jasminum and neri. At the same time, suckers, such as chrysanthemum, banana. Okay, and also found in mentha. At the same time, offsets are present in pistia and hypotic. At the same time, subaerial stem modifications mean there are subaerial stem modifications. At the same time, rhizome, ginger, and also curcuma. And other one, calm, Colocasia amorphopalis. Already know all these points and examples in morphology. Now, other one, stem tuber, example potato. And also other one, bulb, onion, allium cepa, and lilium candidum, etc. At the same time, bulb beans, vegetative bulbs in diascorea, and floral bulbs in agave. And also reproductive leaves like bryophyllum and Scilla indica and begonia. And all these, they are vegetative propagules which are produced in higher plants to maintain vegetative reproduction. Students, now coming to the point, in case of algae and fungi, asexual reproduction is common, but on the onset of adverse conditions in their climatic conditions, these algae and fungi, they are shifted to sexual reproduction. At the same time, in case of higher plants, both asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction both are present in higher plants. At the same time, in case of dahlia and banana and also potato, sugarcane, in this type of plants, ginger, in this type of plants, how these plants are cultivated by farmers in their lands. All these plants, they produce very small vegetative buds, axillary buds in the nodes of the stem. When these nodes in contact with a very wet soil or water, immediately this axillary bud germinates into a new plant. Thus, they are used as vegetative propagules. Okay.